Have you ever wondered why your dog licks your hands day after day without fail? It's not the salt on your skin. It's not the scent of food. The answer is much more powerful than that. Because behind that one small act could be an emotional truth you've never fully noticed. If you've always thought it was just a harmless habit, you may have missed one of the purest ways your dog says, "I love you." In this video, we're going to explore 40 quiet but meaningful behaviors, things your dog does only when their love runs deep. These aren't tricks. They're not learned commands. They're instinctive gestures of loyalty, trust, and deep emotional connection. And number 10, that one alone has brought tears to the eyes of dog lovers who finally understood what their companion had been trying to say all along. So, if you've ever felt like your dog sees into your soul, if you've ever caught them watching you, like you're their whole world, hit subscribe. Because once you learn what these signs really mean, you'll never see your dog the same way again. And it all begins with something you've likely felt 100 times, but never paused to truly understand that familiar gentle lick on your hand. It usually happens when you're not even thinking about it. Early morning, maybe you're still sipping your coffee, and there it is, that gentle lick on your knuckles. It's not dramatic. It's not playful. It's quiet, intentional. Like your dog is saying, "You're still here. Good." You might have brushed it off thinking it's about the leftover crumbs or your skin's salt, but science says otherwise. In a 2017 study on human-animal interaction, researchers found that brief moments of affectionate contact like licking or gentle touch increased oxytocin levels in both the dog and the human. Oxytocin is often called the love hormone, and it's central to emotional bonding. So when your dog licks your hands each morning, it's not habit. It's not begging. It's biology. It's loyalty. It's love in molecular form. And for dogs who don't speak our language, that lick is how they say, "We're still us." And if you felt that lick and didn't realize what it meant, just wait until you learn what's behind the way they look into your eyes. It catches you off guard sometimes. You look up from reading or washing dishes, and your dog is just there, watching you, not moving, not asking, just being. Their gaze is soft, unblinking, calm. It's not a stare for dominance. It's a gift. In 2015, researchers from Azabu University in Japan discovered that when dogs and their humans share mutual eye contact, both experience a spike in oxytocin, the same chemical released when a mother looks into her newborn's eyes. This isn't random, it's evolutionary. Over thousands of years, dogs learned that gazing gently into a human's eyes builds trust and deepens connection. So when your dog stares at you like that, it's not because they're waiting. It's because they're with you, fully, silently, soulfully. But if you think that kind of love only shows up when you're awake, wait until you feel it while you're asleep. You settle into bed, the house goes quiet, and within minutes, there's a familiar weight behind you or a nudge near your feet. Some dogs curl right into your spine. Others burrow under the covers like a child seeking warmth. But make no mistake, this isn't just about being cozy. For pack animals, sleeping close is a survival instinct. It means safety, trust, belonging. And when your dog chooses your body over their own bed, every single night, they're saying, "You are my safest place." Studies show that sleeping near a bonded human reduces stress levels in dogs, lowers heart rate, and promotes emotional regulation. In return, humans often experience better sleep quality and lower nighttime anxiety. It's more than a nap. It's an unspoken ritual of love. But if you think their need to stay close ends at bedtime, wait until you see how far they'll follow you. From the kitchen to the bathroom, from porch to garage, there they are. Not asking, just following. Step for step. No matter how mundane the task, And while some people laugh it off as clinginess, older men who live with dogs know the truth, it's devotion. In the wild pack, members move together. Always. The leader moves, the others follow. And in your dog's eyes, you are that leader, the heartbeat of the home. Some breeds, like labs and shepherds, are more prone to this shadowing behavior, but the reason runs deeper than genetics. Dogs follow because they want proximity to safety, to meaning, to you. Emotional research shows that dogs form secure base effects with trusted humans, much like infants with parents. They're not invading your space. They're anchoring to it. And if you ever doubted how emotionally tuned in your dog is, just notice what they do when you go quiet. You're not eating. You're not holding a treat. You're just sitting. And then, a soft weight on your leg. No whining, no bark, just a paw. Resting, reassuring. This tiny gesture is often misunderstood as attention-seeking, but with older dogs, especially those who've lived years by your side, it's something else entirely. It's check-in behavior. It's emotional mirroring. Experts in canine communication call it anchoring touch, a way for your dog to ask, "Are we still okay? Are you okay?" Just like a friend might squeeze your shoulder without a word, your dog places that paw, not because they want something, but because they're giving something presence. Stability, a moment of unspoken comfort. And if a simple paw can say that much, imagine what it means when they start bringing you gifts. It's the end of a long day. You finally sit down, maybe with a cold drink in hand, and here they come, your dog proudly dropping an old toy, or maybe a sock at your feet. It's dirty, ragged, not a thing you'd ever ask for. But they look at you like they've just handed over treasure. And in a way, they have. This isn't a game. It's not about playing fetch. It's instinct. In the wild, wolves bring back pieces of prey to the pack, not just to share food, but to reinforce trust and unity. Domestic dogs have kept that behavior for one reason: love. When your dog gives you something, especially something personal, like your own sock, it's their awkward, deeply sincere way of saying, "You matter. I want to share what makes me happy." It's not a gift of value, it's a gift of meaning. And it means you've earned their trust at a level that can't be trained. And if that small, slobbery offering touched your heart, wait until you see what it means when they guard your feet like sacred ground. Maybe you've noticed it before. A friend comes over, or a delivery driver stops by. You're standing there chatting, and without a sound, your dog parks themselves right at your feet. They're not barking. They're not growling. But they're there, firm, present. That's not just affection, it's instinctual loyalty. Dogs have a pack-based hierarchy. Sitting at your feet is symbolic. It places them in the role of sentinel protector, second in command. And it's no accident they choose that position when others are near. Especially in older dogs, this behavior says, "I've got you." It's not taught. It's not trained. It's earned through years of emotional connection. And sometimes they'll glance up at you, waiting for a sign that everything's fine. Because in their world, guarding you silently is part of love. But if you think they only speak through actions, watch what happens when you speak first. You're telling a story. Maybe out loud. Maybe just thinking aloud while fixing something in the garage. And there it is, that slight, curious head tilt. One ear forward, eyes locked on you. It's adorable, sure, but it's also neurological. Dogs tilt their heads to better localize sounds and interpret emotional tone. They're trying to understand not just what you say, but how you feel when you say it. A 2021 study from Hungary found that some dogs, especially those with strong bonds to their humans, can remember and differentiate words by sound. But more than language, they read rhythm, pitch, emotion. So when your dog tilts their head at you, It's not because you said something silly. It's because they're listening with everything they've got. Their ears, their eyes, their heart. And if you think they only respond in conversation, pay attention to the quiet moments when all they do is watch. This one catches many dog owners off guard. You're relaxing maybe on the couch or bed, and your dog gently nudges toward your face, sometimes licking your eyelids or mouth with eerie precision. It might feel strange, but it's a primal gesture. In wild packs, wolves lick each other's faces to express submission affection and to check on health. Your dog doesn't do this to everyone, just you. The one they trust enough to get that close, that vulnerable. Biologically, dogs have millions of scent receptors. They pick up hormonal changes in your sweat, your breath, even your tears. So a lick near the eyes might mean they're checking in. Are you okay? And around the mouth? That's reserved for family. For pack leaders, it's respect, it's comfort, it's care. But if you've ever seen them lick you, and then whimper as you leave the room, you've only seen half the story. You're not even out the door yet, just grabbing your keys or slipping on your shoes. And behind you, there's a soft sound, barely audible, a whimper. It's not dramatic, not a tantrum, just pain, emotional pain. Studies on canine separation anxiety have shown that bonded dogs show physical signs of distress when their person leaves, even briefly. Their cortisol levels spike. Heart rate increases. But dogs don't just cry because you're leaving. They cry because they can't come with you. Because the bond you've built isn't something they can switch off. To them, separation isn't logical. It's emotional rupture. And that tiny whimper, that's the sound of a heart quietly breaking every time you turn the doorknob. But love doesn't only show itself when you're gone. Sometimes it shows when you're still, and they choose to breathe right beside you. You've dozed off, not in a deep sleep, just resting in the recliner or on the couch. And there they are, your dog lying beside you. Quiet, still, breathing. At first you don't notice it. But if you sit with it long enough, something remarkable happens. Their breathing starts to sync with yours. Slow inhale. Gentle exhale. It's not a coincidence. A study from the University of Helsinki found that dogs adjust their physiological state in response to their owner's emotional and physical cues. That includes matching heart rate variability and even breathing rhythms. This is what emotional co-regulation looks like. They don't need to know what you're feeling, they feel it. And in that silent rhythm, they're saying, I'm with you. No matter what pace you're moving today. But that kind of quiet connection doesn't just happen when you're relaxed. Sometimes it shows up strongest when you're in pain. You didn't call them. You didn't say a word. But they knew. Maybe you winced getting out of bed. Maybe your shoulders slumped just a little more than usual. And suddenly, your dog is there. Not barking, not pushing, just watching, hovering, checking. Dogs are masters at reading micro-signals, changes in posture, breathing, even scent. One 2018 study in the journal Learning and Behavior showed that dogs with a strong bond to their humans were significantly more likely to cross a barrier to help when they perceived distress, even if they didn't fully understand the cause. In simpler terms, your dog notices pain before you admit you're in it. And they come close not to fix it, but to carry part of it. With you, for you, silently. And if that kind of empathy moved you, just wait until you feel it resting right on your chest. There's something sacred about pressure on the chest. Weighted blankets, therapists say, help ease anxiety. But dogs figured that out long before we did. When your dog places their head, or sometimes their whole upper body on your chest, it's more than a cuddle. It's a recalibration. Dogs can hear your heartbeat. They can feel your breath rise and fall. And when they place themselves over your chest, they are synchronizing. Researchers studying service dogs for veterans with PTSD have long observed this behavior. It's a self-guided way dogs try to soothe emotional unrest. But even without training, your dog knows. They feel the turbulence, and they offer their heartbeat in exchange for yours. It's not comfort, they become your comfort. And if you think that's tender, wait until they start speaking the language of their youth with a playful bite that holds no pain. It starts softly. A playful nibble on your sleeve. A light mouthing of your wrist. No pressure. No intention to harm. Just contact. These love bites are not random. They're inherited from puppyhood, when littermates played, explored, and learned the rules of touch. When your dog gives you this kind of bite, it's not aggression, it's intimacy. It's their way of saying, "We're family. I trust you to know this is love." Behavioral experts note that adult dogs rarely use this gesture unless they feel extremely safe. You're not just their companion, you're their playmate, their sibling, their pack. And in a world where humans sometimes struggle to find words, this tiny act says, "You and me, we still understand each other without saying a thing." But if their love can show through a bite, imagine what it means when they wake you just to make sure you're still with them. It might happen in the middle of the night, or during an afternoon nap. A cold nose, a gentle paw. Not frantic, not loud, just enough to stir you. Your dog isn't asking for food or a walk. They're checking in. Dogs are sensitive to subtle changes in breath temperature, even energy. And sometimes when you drift into a sleep that feels different, too deep, too still, they worry. And they reach out. It's protective, yes, but it's also deeply emotional. In older dogs especially, this behavior becomes more frequent. It's their way of making sure their world, the person they love, is still okay, still breathing, still here. And when you open your eyes and see them watching you, ears relaxed, tail wagging softly, that's relief. Not theirs, yours. Because the next time they do it, it might come with something surprising in their mouth, something you never expected they'd care about. It's laundry day. You toss a pile of old t-shirts and socks on the floor, turn your back for 1 second, and there they are. Your dog burrowed right into it, nose deep, breathing in like they're home. To some, it looks silly, maybe even a little gross. But to your dog, that scent, your scent, is sanctuary. Dogs possess up to 300 million olfactory receptors compared to our 6 million, and they don't just recognize smells, they feel through them. Dirty clothes aren't dirty to your dog, they're familiar, safe, comforting. A study on canine separation behaviors showed that dogs left with their owners' worn clothing displayed fewer signs of anxiety and restlessness. So, when your dog curls into your worn flannel or lays their head on your work pants, they're not being mischievous. They're holding on to the part of you they love most, your essence. But if that connection can hold through scent alone, imagine the depth of love in their watchful eyes when you're just beyond the glass. You step outside for a moment, maybe, to check the mail, sweep the porch, or water the garden, and there behind the glass stands your dog. Not barking, not pacing, just watching. Steady, still, waiting. That gaze isn't about impatience. It's about reassurance. For dogs, sight is a way of anchoring. When they can see you even from a distance, it signals, "You're okay. We're still connected." A 2023 study found that dogs experience elevated oxytocin and dopamine levels even during passive visual contact with their owners. This means even looking at you from afar lights up their brain's reward system. For older men living alone, that quiet figure behind the window isn't just a pet. It's proof someone's always watching out for them. But if their love can span a pane of glass, wait until you see the devotion behind the bathroom door. It's one of those oddly tender things you don't notice until it becomes routine. You close the bathroom door, and within minutes, maybe seconds, there's a sound. A shuffle, a soft huff, and then silence. Because they're there, right outside. Not scratching, not whining, just waiting. It's not about fear of abandonment. It's about commitment. Dogs are pack animals. In the wild, no one wanders off alone, especially not the leader. So when you disappear, even for 5 minutes, your dog follows the rule, stay close, stay ready. And when they wait outside that door, it's not because they think you're in danger. It's because part of them can't fully rest until you're whole again. And if you think that's loyalty, just wait until someone else tries to hug you, and they step in without warning. It's family. It's a friend. Maybe it's your granddaughter running up to give you a hug, and suddenly your dog is alert. A quick bark, a stiff tail, maybe even a gentle push between you and the other person. You laugh, reassure them. She's just being protective. But there's more to it. In the canine world, sudden physical contact is interpreted as tension or conflict. And when your dog sees someone touching you, especially if they don't understand the context, their loyalty kicks in. Not to attack, but to assess, to protect. To say, I don't know what this is, but I'm here if it's not okay. Behavioral scientists have observed this protective behavior, especially in dogs who bond with a single person, often men who live alone or in quiet companionship. These dogs don't see themselves as pets. They see themselves as guardians. And if their instinct to protect is that strong in action, imagine the quiet strategy behind where and how they choose to rest. You're watching the news, reading a book, or maybe just staring out the window, not thinking much at all. And your dog? They're not at your feet, not curled into your lap. They're across the room, lying still, but facing the door. Always the door. It's subtle, easy to miss, but it's intentional. In wolf packs, a sentinel always rests with eyes on the perimeter. It's a position of service, of readiness, of silent watchfulness. Your dog doesn't need to bark or stand guard to show they care. Sometimes their love is in how they position themselves between you and the world. Just in case. For many older men, this simple act, barely noticed, is one of the deepest forms of affection they'll ever receive. But if you think that quiet posture is protective, wait until you feel what happens when a stranger steps too close and they rise without a sound. You're out on the porch, or walking through the park. A stranger approaches, maybe with a smile, maybe with a question, and almost before you realize it, your dog has moved. Just one step, just enough to place their body between yours and theirs. They don't bark, they don't growl, but they stand firm. That's not training. That's not chance. That's love turned into instinct. Protection doesn't always mean aggression. It means awareness. And to your dog, your space is sacred. In behavioral studies, this interpositional stance is a known sign of emotional protection, most often seen in dogs with strong, singular bonds to one person, especially older men who live quietly. Dogs sense energy, body language, emotional shifts, and they act before words are ever spoken. But if they'd position themselves like a shield when someone new arrives, wait until you see how they react when your mood starts to shift behind closed doors. It's subtle. You're heading for the door maybe after a difficult call, or with that quiet tension in your shoulders that only your dog seems to notice. And suddenly, they step into your path. Not aggressively, not demanding, just in the way, blocking you. Dogs do this when they sense anxiety, frustration, or emotional unrest. It's called interruption behavior, And it's not about stopping you from leaving. It's about checking, are you sure you want to go right now? Studies of psychiatric service dogs show this instinct in highly bonded dogs, even those without training. They sense elevated heart rate cortisol shifts and changes in gait or breathing. For an older man who rarely shares his feelings aloud, this quiet block in the hallway might be the only thing that keeps him from walking out upset and instead stopping to take a breath. But if they'll interrupt your steps when something feels off, wait until you see how they watch your back when you're on the move. You're walking through the yard, down the dirt road, maybe just pacing back and forth on the porch, and your dog does something you didn't teach them. They walk ahead, then stop. Turn back. Make eye contact. Wait. They're not just being polite. They're patrolling. This checking back behavior is rooted in pack movement. The leader sets the direction, but the rest of the group constantly ensures no one's left behind. In domestic dogs, especially those with older, slower-moving owners, this becomes a protective ritual. A quiet scan. You good? In a study of off-leash dog behavior, dogs with strong attachments to their humans showed significantly higher rates of return checking, even without recall commands. It's not obedience. It's love turned into vigilance. But if they'll glance back over their shoulder just to make sure you're still there, wait until the sky rumbles and they choose you over their own fear. The thunder rolls in. The lights flicker. Maybe the roof rattles. And you brace for it knowing your dog has always been afraid of storms. But this time, they stay. Right next to you. They tremble. Maybe pant a little. But they don't leave. Because as afraid as they are, they've decided you matter more. This is called protective override, when an animal chooses connection over instinctual fear. Studies in animal behavior have shown that emotionally bonded dogs will sometimes suppress their own flight response in favor of guarding a person they love, especially if that person appears calm or conversely vulnerable. For older men who've spent years beside that same dog through every kind of weather, this moment hits different. Because you know they'd run if they could. But they won't. Not tonight. Not while you're here. And if they'll put their fear second to stay beside you, wait until you hear the sound they make when someone raises their voice in your presence. You didn't even realize your voice had risen. Or maybe someone else's did first. A disagreement. Frustration. The kind of tone shift that dogs pick up before humans even process it. And from the corner of the room, a low sound. Controlled. Barely audible. But unmistakable. A growl. Your dog doesn't lunge, doesn't bark, but they're there, between you, saying, I'm watching, I'm here. Behavioral studies confirm that dogs don't just react to volume, they interpret tension, emotional threat. They understand that tone, posture, even face shape can indicate rising stress. And when they sense that you're on the receiving end, they engage. Not to escalate, but to warn. Not him. Not now. For many men who live alone, this moment is both startling and humbling. Because even when you don't ask to be protected, someone steps up anyway. And if that soft growl made your heart swell, wait until you see what happens when food becomes secondary to staying by your side. It's dinner time. Their favorite bowl is full. But instead of eating, they trail behind you. One step, then another. You pause, and so do they. You move, and they're right there. You might laugh and say, eat silly. But they won't. Not until you're still. Not until they've made sure you're okay. For dogs, food is survival. To walk away from it isn't just discipline, it's devotion. In behavioral studies, dogs in high-bond households often prioritize proximity to their human over natural impulses like eating or sleeping. Especially in senior dogs, this act speaks volumes. I'll eat later. Right now, I choose you. It's a behavior most pet owners miss, but for those who notice it, lingers. Because it says without drama or noise, you come first. But if that silent choice moved you, wait until you see the moments they anticipate something you haven't even said. It's something only certain dog owners have seen, and once you see it, you never forget. A dog who reacts before anything happens. They nudge you, circle, whine, lay their head in your lap, and minutes later, a seizure or a blood sugar drop or a dizzy spell. You hadn't noticed, but they did. Dogs have an extraordinary ability to detect chemical changes in the human body through scent energy and behavior. Medical alert dogs are trained for this, but many untrained dogs have done it purely through instinct. In a 2019 study published in Scientific Reports, dogs detected seizure precursors through subtle behavioral and scent cues well before visible symptoms began. It's not magic. It's biology bonded with loyalty. If your dog has ever behaved strangely before, you felt off, don't brush it aside. They're watching you more closely than you watch yourself. And if they can detect an unseen shift in your body, wait until you feel them wake you from a storm that lives only in your mind. You're asleep, deep, tossing, turning, maybe sweating, and through the dark you feel it, a gentle nudge, a paw, a warm nose against your cheek. You open your eyes, and there they are, ears slightly back, eyes soft, watching. They didn't bark. They didn't panic. They just woke you, not to play, not for food, but because they knew something was wrong. Dogs are exquisitely tuned to the emotional rhythms of those they love. Research in PTSD service dogs shows that they learn often without formal training to interrupt nightmares by detecting restless movement, vocal stress, or shallow breathing. But even without the title service dog, many loyal companions do this on their own. Especially for older owners who live alone, that midnight nudge isn't a disruption, it's a rescue. And if they'd pull you from a dream to bring you back to peace, wait until you see how they sit by your side when your body needs time to heal. It doesn't matter if it's a fever, a surgery, or just a bad cold. Your dog knows. Long before you say a word, they've already adjusted. They're quieter, calmer. They stay close, but not demanding. If you move, they move. If you sigh, they lift their head. And if you're too weak to speak, they don't need words. They're already listening. Studies show dogs can detect changes in body scent associated with illness down to shifts in hormones, immune responses, and skin chemistry. But beyond biology, what matters is presence. They could be in another room. They could relax elsewhere. But they don't. Because when you're not at full strength, they step up not with action, but with quiet loyalty. And if that silent watch at your bedside wasn't already enough, listen closely to the sound they make when your heart breaks and you think no one else hears it. You're sitting still, maybe holding your face, maybe letting out that low, cracked breath that only comes from real pain, and suddenly, your dog is there, tense, still. Then, a low growl. Not at you, not from fear, but toward the world, toward the feeling. It's a response many dog owners have never seen until grief shows up. Dogs process human emotion through scent and sound, yes, but also through empathy. When they sense distress, their protective instinct activates. For some, it's licking, for others leaning in. But in highly bonded dogs, especially older ones, a soft growl while you're crying is their way of saying, I don't know who hurt you, but I'm here if they come back. It's not aggression. It's a statement, a vow, a line drawn. And if that growl carried the weight of love, wait until their next move says, I feel what you feel, even when you say nothing at all. You're sitting there, not saying much, Not moving either. Maybe you're lost in thought or something heavier. And then you feel it. A soft nudge. The wet press of their nose against your hand. It's not asking for anything. It's reminding you I'm here. This behavior is known as emotional interruption. Dogs especially, those bonded closely to one human, are extremely adept at detecting stress patterns. Changes in posture, breath scent, even how your hands sit still too long. Their nose isn't just investigating, it's reaching out. Studies from the University of Lincoln show dogs can differentiate between human emotions using chemical cues and facial expressions. And when they sense anxiety, that gentle nose isn't a command. It's connection, a way to bring you back to the room, to them, to the safety of we. But if a single nudge can anchor you in the present, imagine what it means when they wait by the door long before you're even supposed to be home. You didn't tell them. You didn't leave a note. But they knew. The clock ticks past your usual return, and they're already there, waiting, eyes on the door, ears perked, pacing maybe, not frantic, just alert. It's not magic, it's memory, routine, attachment, but it's more than that. In a 2020 study on canine time perception, dogs were shown to anticipate owner returns based on scent, fading, and circadian rhythms. But waiting isn't just about time. It's about hope. It's about presence. It's about holding space for someone they trust to come back. For many men who live alone, that dog waiting by the door isn't just a pet, it's proof that someone always looks forward to them. And if their anticipation can stretch across hours, wait until you see the reverence in the way they respond when you're hurt. It's an old myth, but one that science partially confirms. Dogs lick wounds, not just theirs, but yours. And while modern medicine advises caution, the gesture itself means something ancient. In the wild, wolves groom injured packmates, cleaning, soothing, bonding. That instinct remains. When your dog sees a bandage, a scrape, a bruise, they don't understand infection, but they understand pain. And their reaction, do something, be near, offer contact. Some studies even suggest dog saliva contains histatins proteins with mild antimicrobial properties. But deeper than biology is intent. It's care, reverence, an urge to heal not with medicine but with presence. And if their love can reach into pain, wait until you see what they do when eye contact becomes the only language they need. You've been distant, maybe inside your head, maybe buried in the day's worries, and they feel it. So they pace, not aimlessly, but back and forth, pausing, looking, trying to catch your eyes. Because for dogs, eye contact is not about dominance, it's about connection. In the oxytocin loop, first observed by Dr. Miho Nagasawa's team in Japan, mutual gazing between dogs and humans leads to an emotional feedback loop, a biological bond. When your dog paces until you look up, they're not being annoying. They're asking, do we still see each other? And when your eyes finally meet, the pacing stops. Peace settles. It's not obedience, it's reunion. And if your gaze can quiet their entire body, wait until you see how they use their own to shield you even while sleeping. It seems small, a dog lying in the hallway, or curled in the corner of your room, but not facing you, facing the door. It's not a fluke, it's instinct. In wolf packs, the sentinel always rests where they can see danger coming. When your dog positions themselves toward the entrance, it's not to be alone, it's to protect. Especially in older, more bonded dogs, this sleeping orientation is chosen, deliberate, a decision that says, if anything comes through that door, I'll know first. They could be on your bed, but they choose the floor. They choose vigilance, Because even when they rest, their love doesn't. And if they face the world so you don't have to, wait until they mirror even the smallest of your reflexes, like a yawn. It's subtle, almost funny if you don't think too hard about it. You yawn, and they yawn right after. Maybe even with a little stretch. You smile. Are you copying me? In a way they are. But not to be silly. To connect. This is called contagious yawning, and it's a rare phenomenon in the animal world only observed in species capable of emotional empathy. Studies from the University of Tokyo found that dogs are more likely to catch yawns from their owners than from strangers, and the deeper the bond, the stronger the response. It's not mimicry, it's mirroring, a quiet primal way to say, I feel you. For many older men living in quieter homes, this unexpected echo of behavior is a moment of simple magic. A reminder that even when words fail, emotion doesn't. But if they copy something as quiet as a breath, wait until they offer you something far louder, total surrender. They roll over, expose their underside, eyes soft, tail still. And while it might look like a simple request for a belly rub, it's not always that. It's a gesture of trust. The belly is the most vulnerable part of a dog's body. No creature, especially one built on survival, exposes it unless they feel completely safe. When your dog does this around you, especially in calm settings, they're saying something deeper than, rub me. They're saying, I'm yours. I trust you with my life. Ethologists point out that this behavior, especially when unaccompanied by a playful wag, is rooted in submission, but not fear-based. It's love-based, deference, peace. And for someone who's never known that kind of quiet trust from another human, this silent offering can mean more than words. But if that stillness touched you, wait until they bring movement into the mix unprompted and full of meaning. It's a small gesture, but it stops you in your tracks. Your dog shows up with their leash, or nudges their water bowl toward you. No bark, no pawing, just a gentle push. A silent suggestion. Want to walk. You forgot this. At first it seems like training. But then you realize you didn't teach them this. They taught themselves. Because they've learned your rhythms. They know when it's time. And more than that, they want to share the moment with you. Cognitive behavior studies show that dogs are capable of understanding routine and responding with context-driven actions, not just cues. When they bring you something, it's not just desire, it's communication, it's invitation, it's partnership. But if that offering spoke volumes, wait until you see how they say everything by doing nothing at all. There's a kind of grief that doesn't need sobs, the kind that comes with long stares and quiet rooms. And that's when they appear. Not wagging, not whining, just there, awake, watching, present. Dogs can sleep most of the day, but during your lowest moments, they often don't. They stay alert, not because they're restless, but because you are. They don't interrupt. They accompany. Psychologists have referred to this behavior as emotionally attuned presence, and it's one of the clearest signs of deep empathy in animals. They're not trying to fix you. They're staying near until you find your footing again. And sometimes, that's the only medicine you need. But if that silence spoke comfort, their next gesture will say, even your quietest emotions deserve a response. You haven't moved in a while, maybe lost in thought, maybe just numb. And then a sound, a soft, breathy whine, not high-pitched, not needy, just checking. Along with it, a slow, rhythmic tap of the tail. It's not asking for anything. It's reminding, I still see you. I still hear you. And I'm still here. This behavior often surfaces in older dogs, those who've learned the value of patience over play. They know how to wait. but they also know how to reach across silence. Behavioral scientists note that tail tapping and soft vocalizations are low-level attention cues often used between bonded animals to re-establish connection. No demand, just invitation. And for anyone who's ever sat in stillness, wondering if anyone notices they do, your dog does. Always. Because love for them isn't something they show only when it's convenient. It's something they live, every day, without condition. You thought it was just a lick, just a paw, just a glance from across the room. But now, you know it's never just anything with them. Every action, every still moment, every nudge, every breath synced with yours. It was love. Not the loud kind, not the flashy kind, but the kind that stays, that notices when you don't say a word, that chooses you every single day without needing a reason. Maybe you didn't plan to fall in love with a dog. Maybe you thought you were just giving them a home. But if your dog does even 5 of the things we've talked about, you haven't just given them a life. You've become their whole world. And that deserves to be honored. So tell us in the comments, how does your dog say, "I love you," without a single word? And if any of this felt true to your life, if you saw your own dog in these stories, hit subscribe. Because here, we don't just talk about dogs, we listen to them, we live with them, and we love them back with everything we've got.